What's up, everybody, and welcome to Ohio Sports Talk. I'm your host, Doug. That's my guy, Jordan Maxon. Jordan, we took Monday off. I was on vacation. I am back. Florida with the family was amazing. We had a fantastic time. We ate great food. The beach was excellent. Me and my son played in the waves and out in the ocean a lot. It was great. My daughter is doing a fantastic job with her swimming. It was a really, really fun week. I'm glad to be back, though. Ohio Sports Talk. We are live right now, buddy. How you doing?
We're doing good. We missed you on Monday. We hit a few notes and stuff while you were gone, but always happy to see the pictures from the trip. The lobster look absolutely delicious. My daughters do not eat seafood. I do. So it's lonely time for me when I see other people enjoying it. I'm all in. But we did a few fun things around here too. Definitely gonna amp up this weekend. Maybe go see Twisters. It's definitely on the agenda. We got Deadpool and Wolverine dropping this week too, so might be a big weekend in cinema. But weather was good. I'm on a 1 week break before I hit the ground running with football practice and hitting myself. So I'm kind of enjoying this week, taking my mind off. Did a few coaches clinics over the last week and some change. Learned a lot. Got to school up a lot. Can't wait to see it in action. And I got a few things in store for our opponents this year, so we'll definitely be touching on that as the fall time comes on. But
For sure.
hey, we're happy to have you back. Happy belated birthday, by the way. It was
Thank
Doug's birthday over the vacation week. The man's getting a little older, but we're still getting up and doing it, showing our kids who's the boss, and that's all that matters. So let's dive in and rock to it.
Yeah, let's do it, Jordan. We this week we had a couple the Red Series over the weekend. We didn't look great. Then we come back. We play really well against the Braves, and we were talking about it before we got on, Jordan. The Reds just seem to be right in the middle. Like we can't get too high, we can't get too low. The Reds they're just struggling to make it to that next level. What were your thoughts over the weekend and then into the Braves series, where the Braves we ended up not finishing the series? We're going to finish that in September. What were your thoughts, Jordan? Last two series for the Reds since we missed the one on over the weekend against the Nationals, where they swept us, Jordan, where they just flat out swept us.
I'm glad you were on vacation for that, Douglas, because I had the privilege of covering that on our X account, and what a disaster. The Nationals, it truly was. Just look, I mean, we look like a AAA team playing a pro ball club, or might I even say a AA team. It just didn't look good. Too many errors against the Nationals. Pitching staff was completely out of whack. We didn't get the pop off the bats. Not a lot of manufactured runs. Terrible base running calls. It's just guys that were already on second were running to third for no reason when a guy on first was clearly going to be out. So it's just a lot of unforced double plays, which seems kind of be our roll call this year when it comes to big situations. But then we turn around and stop me if I sound like a broken record, Doug. We played a level of our competition.
Wow.
Like a month and a half ago, the Dodgers come to town. We fucking sweep the Dodgers. We go out to Atlanta. They're above 500, very competitive team in NL East. Big time bats, big time run differential, and we just go over there and we beat the bongo drums. I mean, just the bats came alive. Still a lot of unforced errors in the infield that you don't like to see. A little bit of bad base running kind of reared its head, but when you get that kind of run support, as much as Frankie Montas yesterday wanted to throw away the game, loading the bases on multiple occasions, full credit to the bullpen for the two games in Atlanta. Really came through. We discussed it. Both pitchers that came off, their names slip on my mind. But
Sam Maul came in.
Yes.
He shut down the second bases loaded, and definitely looked really good in that one. And then game one, Diaz made it look interesting after Hunter Green pitched to Jim. Yes. I think he gave up only 2 hits and 7 scoreless innings.
Oh, he played lights out.
I mean, Hunter Green, when he is on, man, that guy is unbelievable. And the bullpen came in and closed it down. Cruz had a hitless inning, and then Diaz, he made it interesting with the 2 walks and gave up a run, but it never got to the point. It never got to the point where we felt like the game was really in jeopardy. But it always gets a little tense there at the end. We always expect Diaz to just slam the door shut, and sometimes it just doesn't go that way. But we looked, like you said, we looked so good against the Braves. It makes you wonder, like, what the hell happened coming out of the All-Star break against the Nationals? You lose 3 straight, 8-5 game 1, 5-4 game 2, in a game that we probably could have came back and won, and then 5-2 the bats didn't get going until way too late in the game. But then we come out and we score 13 runs on the Braves in 2 games, and you're scratching your head, Jordan. I feel like that's what we've been stuck with this season is we get these glimpses of great baseball, and we get all these other situations where it's just head-scratching baseball. You're like, these aren't even the same teams. It's night and day, series to series, how much different we're going to look. And I think that's been the problem. But, Jordan, I want to touch on something different. Elly De La Cruz continues to be the most electric man in baseball. He is by far, in my opinion, the most fun player to watch right now in baseball. He is a superstar. He is a cornerstone of a franchise. Yeah, the defense could be better, but I'm willing to give up some defense for how good this guy's been hitting the ball and doing everything else for the team over the past month and a half. His numbers are incredible. Jordan, how much longer do you think we have to wait until we really get serious news on an Elly De La Cruz extension? Because in my opinion, we've got to sign this guy to 10 years plus. It probably more than that. He's only 22. He turns 23 in January of next year. I mean, this guy is super young. Why would we not be offering this guy 12 years, $500 million? I mean, it's got to be a crazy number, Jordan. Am I fishing here, or it's got to be something monumental, correct?
I had between 415 and 450 because it is.
I feel like that's even low.
I feel like it's low, but I do this. This is the Cincinnati Reds we're talking about. I mean, I kind of base it off of the 10-year Joey Votto contract that we gave. Then kind of account for inflation and what the prices are these days. So I kind of rolled the dice around 415 to 450. But 500 million is not totally out of reach. If you tack on those extra 2 years, if you say 12 years, I see the 5 million. But I was thinking 10 years between 415 to 450, just kind of based off of how the market is, and a decade-year deal, and maybe some of it, depending on how much of it he wants forward, how much of that's going to be chipped into 2050. Are we going to pay him like we paid King Griffey Jr., who just finished up his. I think he just finished up his contract like a month or 2 ago, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think that that those numbers are not that's not unrealistic, Doug. Especially if you want to keep this guy. And we touched on it last show before vacation time for us. And every time he makes an appearance, especially in a big market, his price goes up, and it rightfully so. When we went into the Bronx and we bongo drum the Yankees. He was a big part of that. And one of those games were on national television. So you can't, his name, especially, we touched on it in All-Star break, the interview he, had with Derek Jeter and the time that he spent with the front desk before the game festivities, that all that and his being charismatic, Douglas, his price every month we wait, it goes up a little bit more. There's something that has to be paid. And, I 400 to 500 million does not sound out of reach for this guy. I hope the Reds get it done, and they should be negotiating. I would have started it before the All-Star break, but after that exposure, I mean that's fair game.
Jordan, 12 years, 500 million rounds out to about 41.6 million per year going forward. To me, that seems, if we could get that done, I feel like we take that in a heartbeat, in my opinion. But let's get it done sooner than later. Shout out to Aunt Wendy chiming in. Little leaguers know the rules of base running. It was really bad. Thank you, Wendy, for watching the show. We love you. We appreciate you.
Love you.
But yeah, no, some of the base running errors definitely feel a little leaguish sometimes. Jordan, let's talk about it. Matt McClain is due back hopefully soon. TJ Friedel is due back tomorrow. We've got some interesting stuff in the lineup. Let me run something by you, Jordan, because until we trade Jonathan India, which we'll touch on here in a second, he's still our leadoff hitter. He's still our captain. He's still our second baseman. And I get that. I will touch on him in a second because I think it's important. But what are your thoughts on potentially, TJ Friedel, his whole time with the Reds has been a leadoff type guy. Would it be crazy to put TJ Friedel at the 9 slot? So on the way back through the roster or the way back through the lineup, we have Friedel, India, then Cruz, then we get into Candy, Steer. What are your thoughts on that second time through the lineup, maybe having TJ at 9th? I know you want his bat and you want him to get on base early, but that second time through the lineup, if he could work with, if we could get him and India working together to get on base, that just sets the table for everybody else so much more. What were your thoughts on maybe a lineup shift like that? Just
Douglas,
FYI, Jordan, FYI, I don't expect David Bell to do a damn thing that looks anything like an original thought. I'm sure TJ Friedel will be slid back in that first spot and we'll work it out from there. But thoughts on potentially shifting that order around because India's been so damn good in that leadoff spot. It seems like it'd be kind of crazy to take him out of it. So go ahead.
Douglas, with our inconsistency that we touched on in the beginning of the show, I would love that move, to be 100% honest, because we don't get the same, red hot bats in the beginning of the order night in and night out. So to see somebody at the bottom of the order, pull cleanup duty like that, especially, towards these games that have been close and these comebacks, a couple of these comebacks just fall a little bit short. Yeah. So to put somebody like that, that can actually pop the ball and really give you some run manufacturing, whether, it's a sinker right down the line in between foul and fair. Douglas, I would love that. And, he brings some power there too. And a lot of the times we're not closing out games when, we got 2 or 3 guys on base for the National Series and we got guys striking out. So I would love to see that kind of towards the end of the rotation because the Reds have played so many head-to-head battle games. We've come up just short. So I think that would be a wise move moving forward. And, especially with Rhys Hines kind of coming into fruition, even though he kind of struggled during the Brave series. I think we got nothing to lose there. So I think that would be a great move. But maybe David Bell will listen to us and, we'll ring it and something will happen.
Nope, I'm with you. I think it would be a nice little shakeup, but I fully expect him to make no moves. Give me 1 second. Let me take care of the dog. Talk a little bit about the upcoming series with the Rays.
We start the series tomorrow with the Rays, 7:30 Eastern time, and we got Nick Lodolo is going to start. That's been our ace, that's been our gem, our hard shell there for the Cincinnati Reds. So I'm excited. We got to beat up on the Braves a little bit, and Nick Lodolo gets to come in, well rested, ready to rock and roll. And the time off for Cincinnati, I think that's going to go in our favor. We're about to go on a grueling, 12-game stretch, if I didn't read it wrong, on the road. So this right now, those little, being in Atlanta, playing a game, having a night off, then playing an afternoon, having that night off to travel, and then having that next day. Douglas, I think we're going to see a well-rested and ready-to-go Reds team for Nick Lodolo and company on Game 1.
I'm totally with you. I'm glad Nick Lodolo is starting us off. That's a great tone to set. Wendy, you were right about Bell. He will mess with his team up and fire him. We definitely understand that. Wendy's been on that train for a while. But, like you said, we've got the 3 with Tampa Bay, and then we've got 3 with Chicago, 3 with San Fran, 4 with Miami. I mean, it doesn't stop for a while. It is a long, long stretch. I believe we have August 1st off in between Chicago and San Fran, and then it's right back on the grind for another long stretch in August. So definitely in the dog days of the season where you've got to win these games and you've got to start making your moves now. Lodolo, though, he's been our guy. We're really excited to have him start off a series, and then we get Abbott, and then we get Green to close it out. To me, Jordan, that feels like 2 wins with Green and Lodolo going in the same series. But unfortunately, we've gotten to the point in the season where we've got to start sweeping some of these series to make up ground to even be relevant. Let me ask you this. Do you think Jonathan India by next weekend is still on the Cincinnati Reds?
Just because we're the Reds, Douglas, yes, I do. I don't think we're going to swing for the fences and make a trade.
No,
I
but
haven't
that wouldn't
really
be
got to
swinging
look
for
at.
the fences, though. That would be them. That would be a team like the Yankees or the Mariners or somebody like that, a contending team coming in and giving us prospects. So I don't think that's us going all in at all. That's us moving on and trying to get younger for a guy like Jonathan India to help the team down the line. What do you think about that?
I think that would be tough because if there's any thought in the ball club, at least on the management side, that we're going to actually make a push, being 4 games out of the wild card spot,
Yeah,
then Jonathan India has to stay. If
for
we
sure.
make the India trade, I think that signals every direction that we're kind of writing the season off. So it puts me on the fence about it. Do I think we can get good prospects from a team like the Yankees? Absolutely. Do I think it's worth it for only being 4 games out? That's where I get a little bit torn. So I almost venture to say no. I think he has to stay at least this season. And if his ticket's still hot going into next year, Doug, then we pull a trade. But right now in this rotation, we just don't have enough consistency that I see at all when it comes to hitting and scoring for us to make that kind of move because nobody's going to be there to make up that ground. And with
Well,
how bad our infielding is, air wise being almost top of the league, I think this would be kind of a big mistake because if we're going to put somebody young and inexperienced out there with veterans that are supposed to not play that way, that could be potentially disastrous moving forward.
Well, let me counter though, Jordan. If we do trade India, and the idea is that Matt McLain is back, that solves the second base problem. Matt McLain is going to be our starter going forward. India anyway. Sorry, India was going to be a platoon guy coming into the year until McLain was hurt long term. We get our best player back, but we also lose Jonathan India, so it's a give and take there. I think you almost, if there's a good enough offer, you have to take it. You give India a chance to go play for a contender and maybe make a run in the playoffs, which he hasn't had a great opportunity to do in Cleveland or in Cincinnati. But this is all prefaced on Matt McLain being healthy enough to come in and be the everyday second baseman. We know he's coming off an extensive layoff for his injury. It all has to happen. If he's good enough to go, then I think that's the move you got to make. Does that make sense to you? Because if we can get him back, that makes India a little bit more disposable. And if we can get decent prospects for him, I think it makes sense all around. But again, if Matt's not good, I say wait. And like you said, maybe make that move in the off season.
It just worries me. I get what you're saying because if the Yankees asking price for selling what they believe they can give out for prospects is right for us, and we've always kind of been high on our farming system right now. We have a lot of guys kind of on the up and coming when it comes to the Sarasota team, Louisville, and especially right here, right around us, the Dayton Dragons. So we have a lot of good things going for us. It just depends how hard do you believe on McLean's health, and do you think we need India if we think we're going to make that wild card spot and especially that play-in game, can you afford to lose a guy like India, especially being a captain? Those are all decisions you got to weigh on the table, and I just don't see it at the moment. I I know I'm looking at the kind of the tunnel vision of
Yeah.
right now and not the future, and I'm guilty of that. So I'll tell our fans that, and I'll tell you that because I'm a little tug stringed on it as a fan, but as an analyst, I'm seeing it in the short term right now. I think that would be disastrous, but maybe we'll get another Reese Hines in the trade. Maybe we'll, some of these younger prospects, maybe we'll get a pitcher that can kind of join the bullpen next season. It just has to be the right asking price. So I'd love to see what the player combination would be for the trade.
Right. Wendy, we have a third base problem, not a second base problem. Grandma says, you're right. We do have a problem at third base. Marte he's not good. He's not as good as it needs to be. But McLean is our starting second baseman. India is in that spot. I would love to have India platoon for the team, but if he's worth decent to better prospects, then you kind of have to pull the trigger. And with Cam Collier in the farm system, who's supposed to be the third baseman of the future, I don't see them going out and adding anybody at third base or doing anything with that. So in my opinion, they're gonna hold on with and deal with Marte this year, and then in the offseason, if Cam Collier is ready, They bring him up, and he's the starting third baseman next year. We also got to take into consideration that CES is injured. He will be the starting first baseman next year. Candelario, we'll have to figure out what to do with him, if he's the third baseman potentially, or does he go to DH full time? There's a lot of questions that are going to happen in the offseason, stuff that we can't solve right now because we're in the middle of a battle. We're 4.5 games out of the wild card, which to me, it seems like it's teetering right on the edge of not being able to be doable with the inconsistencies that we have. I mean, we're still hitting only 230 something as a team, Jordan. That's like 28th best in the league. So we're still behind the 8 ball in a lot of regards, but we've hammered home the Reds, buddy. Let's move on to the Olympics. The Olympics are starting up officially tonight, Jordan. We're getting more into the Olympics. We're getting into there. The U.S. ladies won their soccer game 3-0 today. Yes. We'll talk about one of their players a little bit more individually here in a second. We know the men struggled with France. I think we need to kind of take back into consideration that how good France is at soccer. I know we got a little bit sideways there because the team hasn't been very good, but France is really, really good at soccer, Jordan. I don't think it's as bad of a loss, especially when you look at some of the metrics, time of possession, things like that. The U.S. was very competitive. It just felt like France got hot there for a second and really took over. But what Olympic sports, the torch and everything tonight, tell me what the Olympics means to you, Jordan, and I'll be right back.
Oh, and he'll be right back, folks. But the Olympics, and for most of our fans that know me already, I served quite a bit of time in the Marine Corps, so very patriotic. The Olympics mean a lot to me. It's a direct representation of our country. We're sending our finest college athletes, mostly, out to compete, against the world and really make a name for ourselves. And how they conduct themselves and how they handle themselves, it means the world to me. The Olympics has always been kind of big in my family. We've always kind of had some extra. You would have thought it was a big football game. We're big Ohio State fans, but when the Olympics comes around, I always make a little bit of extra food when there's a big game on or there's a big event. Michael Phelps captivated me growing up, in my 20s when he just made the absolute run. It's always been kind of soccer when it comes to summer for me. Both men's and women's have kind of fascinated me. Especially with the FIFA World Cup in between and, things of that nature. So it's always been really fun, but it just comes down to straight patriotism and, pride for your country, kind of seeing everybody and all the fans get together and you hear that USA chant. It gives me goosebumps every time. And a lot of that's, from my Marine Corps background, but it just means a lot. And I feel like recently it's not as big as it used to be. And I hope it makes a comeback. But you just feel a little bit united when everybody's, especially in the day and age of social media, you get to see everybody's account kind of going back and forth. And sometimes it's really good, intelligent conversation about the athletes and these smaller sports that highlights these guys who bust their ass for years and years to get there. This is once in a lifetime every 4 years. So some athletes only get 1 or 2 chances in their lifetime before that window passes them by. And that's just father time. It's, we all lose the battle eventually when it comes to athletics. So just absolute patriotism for me. I love it. I love the flag representation. I want to see us be at the top of the podium. I want to hear the national anthem as many times between now and these next 2 weeks at the top. And, that's what it really means to me and my family, Doug. And that's what I preach to my daughter. That's what I preach kind of back and forth on Twitter, but it just means a lot. And I hope we get locked in as a country because these next 2 weeks, it would be really refreshing if we all just got along. And, what better time to unite the country than watching these athletes who bust their ass, represent us, win some gold, and really kind of stick it to the rest of the world. So I think it means everything, and it should.
Very well said. Wanted to get your thoughts out there. Obviously, let's get into our first athlete, Jordan. First athlete we're going to talk about is Rose Lavelle. Mm-hmm. This one was suggested to us by my grandma. She's a big U.S. soccer fan. Rose Lavelle, right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, Jordan, born and raised. Yeah. She went to the University of Wisconsin. She is a midfielder. Yeah, she is the midfielder for Team USA. 101 appearances, 24 career goals. She won the bronze medal in the 2020 Olympics with Team USA. They won the World Cup in 2019, and she also collected numerous Big Ten accolades at her time in Wisconsin. She's the national. She was an All-American, All Big Ten, all that good stuff. Jordan, any thoughts on Rose Lavelle, who's been a stable for Team USA's women's team for dating back to 2017, I believe.
Oh yeah, and like you kind of touched on, in her professional career outside of the USA play, she's even done overseas. She played for the female Manchester City in 2020, 2021. So that being an American and playing over there on that kind of level, that's a big time accomplishment. And in 2019, she was named the sixth best player in FIFA. So
Pretty
for
crazy.
her
That's
position
pretty
in her
crazy.
leg, so that's big time accomplishment there. She's played for the New York Gothams. She's played for the Seattle Reign. I touched on she's played overseas for Manchester City. She's played for the Dayton Duchess. The list just kind of goes on and on. And like you said, touched on, she played in Wisconsin for 3 years. That's big time there. And I just absolutely 2017 she got to she got promoted to the senior team for Team USA. She was on a junior team from 2014 to 2016 before then, when she made her FIFA debut in 2017. So that's just really just mad consistency, Douglas.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to want her. She travels around a little bit, but you got to make it in the world of soccer when it comes to dollars and cents and longevity. You got to make it where you get paid. But just that overseas really opens my eyes. That Manchester City for 2 seasons. That's a hell of an accomplishment in what's kind of a crowded, really European league. So for her to leave Cincinnati, Ohio, leave Wisconsin, play for the USA junior team, make her debut in 2017 for the senior team and on, that's just really big time.
Incredible.
I think this might be her last run though, Douglas. I think a lot of everything that I've kind of read pointed this is her last run for the at least Olympic team. So I think she'll make one more FIFA appearance, shortly after this, but definitely going to be the last run for the Olympics. So I'm excited to see her move forward, especially with a 3-0 victory that they had earlier this afternoon.
Yeah, and like you said, she's had a very long career. I mean, she's 29 in soccer years. That is a long time. She's been playing her entire life. She is one of 43 women to appear in 100 matches for the U.S. women's national team. That's huge with their win over South Korea today. We're wishing them the best. They are our best chance to win gold in soccer. Obviously, the men are not on that level. So we are cheering on the U.S. women, obviously. And Rose Lavelle is a big part and has been a big part of the team's success over the last almost decade now. So really looking forward to seeing her play. And like you said, potentially her last appearance for Team USA on this stage. It's been a hell of a career for her. I mean, like I said, 102 appearances, 24 goals, done it at the highest level, played for Man U, was a star for Wisconsin, grew up right in Cincinnati, Ohio. Just an incredible career. We look forward to seeing Rose Lavelle one last time for Team USA, potentially, Jordan. Who is our next athlete?
Our next athlete is Catherine Moon or Katie Moon, depending on which roster you read it off of. But she is a pole vaulter for the USA women's track team. And she has had a hell of a career as well, Douglas. She
is incredible. She is incredible.
Oh, absolutely.
She's a month older than I am, and she is a monster. Jordan, she's from Lakewood, Ohio. She went to UD for a couple years and then transferred to the University of Ashland.
Yes.
She is a 2-time NCAA Division II champion. She won the 2020 gold medal in pole vault. And in 2023, Jordan, she was rated the #1 pole vaulter in the world. And she is a 2-time world champion. Incredible stuff, Jordan. I mean, I got to tell you, I don't know a lot about pole vaulting. I know it's impressive when I see it.
Oh, it is.
I have no idea the technique that goes into it. I believe her high mark is like 16 feet 1 inch or something crazy.
It is. She actually holds 2 world records, Douglas. 16 feet 2 inches, 16 feet 3 inches. So it is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And the 3 inches, some people put it as an asterisk, but she got that record on the indoor track and field in 2019, where she won silver for the indoor world competitions.
That's awesome.
That's that's awesome. She won the bronze in 2015 for the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
That's just absolutely incredible. She then 2022 she also won the silver championship for the indoor pole vaulting. 2019 the Pan American Games, she won silver for and she got 15 feet 8 inches, so not too far from the world record at that time. Yeah. So I'd love to see what won gold. But like you touched on, just absolutely, gold champion 2022, 2023 for the World Athletics. She's an Olympian already. 2020, she won the gold medal in the Tokyo Games. So this is her second go around with Team USA. I think maybe she'll make one more appearance, Douglas, so she can stay on top. I don't know how much pole vaulting takes out of your body, but I have a feeling maybe she's not done after this appearance.
Well, like we said, we don't, here we're not going to act like we're the experts of pole vaulting. We don't know the wear and tear on your body. We don't know the drop, the falling down from that high of distance. 16 feet's a long way up, especially to come down. We know it's padded and everything, but I'm sure there's a lot of strain on your muscles in your arms and your legs and all kinds of stuff. So you never know. She is 33. She's a month younger than I am. No chance I could pole vault, but at the same time, I am not an Olympic level athlete like she is. And Jordan, think about this: be the number 1 pole vaulter in the world. What an accomplishment! What just incredible stuff from Lakewood, Ohio. She has ties to UD. She went to Ashland after that. 2-time NCAA Division II champ is awesome. Katie Moon, she is the one to watch in women's pole vaulting for the U.S. Any other thoughts on Katie Moon, Jordan, before we keep it rolling?
Oh, no, I will definitely, for all of our X users, Twitter users, we're going to follow her. We're going to keep you guys updated individually on how she does throughout the games. And we'll definitely be with her all the way. This is, just ties to the area, makes it kind of extra special, being right there in Dayton and, a little bit further. But I'm excited for this. I think she goes out there and she does it one more time, Douglas.
I definitely believe she's the favorite to win the gold, and that is excellent. Jordan, let's transition though. We got a little NFL chattered. Let's talk about your Cincinnati Bengals. Jordan, let me ask you a question about the Bengals. There seems to be a lot more flair than substance recently with the Bengals. A lot of haircuts, a lot of, no, I'm just kidding.
You're all right.
Dude,
not kidding. No.
It's just hair. It's just hair, man. It's so overblown. It's insane. I mean, I put the image up. I thought it was a cool image. Not going to lie to you, but training camps open this week, Jordan. We're going to talk about the Browns next. Jordan, let me ask you, what 2 things concern you most about the Cincinnati Bengals going into this season?
Well, I wasn't happy to see Trent Brown go on the physically unable to play list for a non-football injury. There's still no news on that I found. There's no definitive timeline for him to come back, which worries me. Especially I know we drafted Mims, and who just separate sidebar there. We just signed him to his contract a few days ago, and even that was kind of long and drawn out. So the offensive line, for all the pizzazz and big time thoughts that I had about it going into camp, it has me a little bit worried. I don't know why Trent Brown is injured or why he's off, or if that makes him a cut candidate. I know I kind of text you some thoughts on maybe they're just going to plug Mims in on day one and not pay the money to Trent Brown. I think that would be a mistake. We need the depth. That every time the Bengals make the playoffs, we ended up coming in with a patched up line because of, one, they weren't very good to begin with, but two, signing guys like Max Sharping and expecting them to do big things to go to the Super Bowl. It just never seems to go our way. So I hope we keep him. I hope he's healthy. But outside that, Douglas, this wide receiver nonsense. I mean, Katie Blackburn, in my opinion, has absolutely dropped the ball this year. I know everybody kind of points the compass at Mike Brown, but it is Katie Blackburn that makes those decisions at the end of the day, regardless of what Mike Brown says. But the T. Higgins drama, we got him on the 1-year deal, awesome. But now what's starting to be some Chase drama. They said he didn't participate very much, and he's wanting a new contract. So that's something kind of watching forward. I completely get it from a business standpoint. I am not mad at Chase by any stretch of the imagination. This rant goes straight to our personnel in the office. It goes straight to what I believe. Before the program started, you and I were kind of touching on it. I think the Bengals have been fucking lazy. I think they handled the T. Higgins absolutely wrong. I think it took too long to sign Mims to his rookie deal, and the trend just seems to continue to go and go and go. And there's no clear end there. So I'm worried about the wide receiver position, who's actually going to play all season, and I'm worried about the offensive line moving forward. Some other people might say, the secondary. I'm not as worried about that. Cam Taylor-Britt is going to be fine. We have Turner, our second-round draft pick from a season ago from Michigan. I think he's going to play a good on the outside to take that Awuzie spot. We also have Dax Hill going to corner position and battle that out with Turner. So we got a lot of props there. Safety is solidified. We signed the Stone from Baltimore.
I like Geno Stone. He's a good player.
I think he's the most underrated signing of the year. I think he's going to be the most impactful on defense. And we brought back Von Bell to coach Jordan Battle from Alabama. So I think the safety position is sealed, and that corner position is going to be fine. But for me, Douglas, it's the offensive line and how the contracts affect the wide receiver play.
So let me, obviously I can see the through the trees here. I'm a Browns fan, but I'm going to take it the right way. Ja'Marr Chase, there is no reason for him not to be paid. He's playing. Absolutely. He's making just under $5 million. I know we're not talking guaranteed dollars. We're talking about overall. He's making just under $5 million. He's already outplayed his contract. He is worth a full extension. He is one of the top 3 receivers in the NFL. And on a good Sunday, he's the best receiver in the NFL. You've got to take care of a guy like that. The T. Higgins situation got a little out of control. He's more than likely not going to be a Bengal next year. You can take that how you want. Jermaine Burton, I expect to have a big role in your offense, because if T. Higgins is gone, like we think he will be, that guy has to step in and be the next number 2 for the team going forward. So I expect him to get a lot more targets this year. But you can't let your transcendent talent waver. Ja'Marr Chase is sitting out of practice because he wants a new contract. Everybody in Cincinnati understands that. Everybody can agree he deserves a new contract. How can everybody unanimously agree that one guy is so important to the offense that he should get into contract, but the front office hasn't addressed that and hasn't come in and said, okay, here's your, whatever it needs to be, XYZ money. What's going on there, Jordan? You keep saying Katie Blackburn, but somebody has to be writing the checks for Katie Blackburn. So to me, is it not a combination of her and Mike Brown? What's the situation like here in Cincinnati? I feel like it has to be a combination.
Well, I used to think it was a combination, but if you look at the strides they made in 2020, when we brought in agents like Von Bell, we brought in agents like, Turner and DJ Reader and all these other guys, we brought in Awuzie, and we made huge splashes. We brought in Kappa and all, really upgraded our offensive line and got fucking serious about football. Katie Blackburn is the one that took all the credit for that. They said that she finally, Mike Brown got out of her way, and we made all these big ass signings that were, really instrumental to the turnaround. Granted, that first year wasn't great, but the year after that, those free agency signings really came through. That was, the BJ Hill trade and really a lot of great things that we saw from the organization and front office. Duke Tobin was getting, MVP chants
which was
of the year that year, which
little absurd.
It was a little absurd, but at the same time, the writing was on the wall. They made all the right moves, and post Super Bowl run, we haven't been the same. So I don't know if they think that if the front office just think we're fucking relevant right now and that we don't need to make these moves, and that's absurd in itself because we play in AFC North and an above 500 team finished fucking fourth. So it's really time for somebody to wake up and, like you said, keep our premier players in a position to be premier and to make plays. Because I'm not saying Joe Burrow can't spread the ball around to other people, but Douglas, we can't win against Kansas City without Jamar Chase. We can't split a series against the Cleveland Browns who are coming out ready to cut all throats without Jamar Chase. We can't, battle Baltimore late in the games without Jamar Chase. So there's the writing's on the wall. Like they have to pull their head out of their fucking ass. Either Duke Tobin needs fired, Katie Blackburn needs to shut Mike Brown up like she did a couple years ago, and just write the goddamn checks. And I've been cursing more on this show than normal, so I do apologize to some of our viewers.
It's been a lot, but you're overdoing it for sure.
I don't think I'm overdoing it, Douglas. I don't think I'm overdoing it.
Very heavy.
But I mean, it's the path to success. We play in the toughest division in the NFL.
Yeah.
And our top opponents on the outside only make it harder. Week 2 is against Kansas City. And we're gonna let Chase not connect with Joe Burrow in practice because we can't get some contracts done, or maybe write a 1 year like Cleveland did, maybe blueprint the Amari deal, and make some contract money, move around. Like it just seems dumb. I love the Cincinnati Bengals, but Douglas, I can't defend this in any way. So I have no answers for you when it comes to whether it's Katie Blackburn, Mike Brown, or they're both just sitting on their hands right now. Or maybe Duke Tobin is saying just the wrong shit. I don't know. Just all three of them really need to look in the mirror and realize that this team's window is like this big right now. We're losing T. Higgins next year. So that's a step down for the organization. So if you want to win this year, it's now or never, because you're never going to have that kind of firepower again.
That's fair. I think you're spot on. You got to get the Jamar Chase deal done. You got to protect Joe Burrow, which we've talked about. Will be interesting to see what happens with Trent Brown. Maybe the confidence in Mims is sky high and they believe he could be the guy, because it continues to say undisclosed injury, like you mentioned, which is very interesting. So that could be a very high cut candidate, like you've mentioned. Jordan, next week, I think we're going to go in and we're going to break down the Bengals' full schedule. We'll see where we land next week on them. We'll get a little bit more news from camp. But Jordan, let's transition. Let's talk about my Cleveland Browns.
To a team that can manage.
Well, we've got our own problems. Jordan, camp's open for us also. We've got some question marks ourselves. We've got Greg Newsome. We've got Tomlinson both having surgery soon, which you don't love to see coming into camp. That's a head scratcher. Why are these guys waiting so close to camp? Jordan, also today, Kevin Stefanski is going to keep calling the plays. I jumped the gun a little bit and said I didn't love it because we brought in Ken Dorsey, but Stefanski has been successful calling the plays for Cleveland. He does get into those lulls where he doesn't run the ball as much as he should, but overall, he does a really good job calling the plays. I needed to be reminded of that. Thank you to the Cleveland Browns fans that got in the mentions and let us know that. Jordan, Cleveland has some question marks on the offensive line coming into this year because of health. Jack Conklin is coming off a major surgery. Jedrick Wills is coming off a major surgery. Neither guy is ready for camp. DeJuan Jones, who we have all become, fall in love with, who after he dominated TJ Watt, I believe he should start over either one of them, and the other one who's either healthiest or wins the position battle should be on the other side. I'm so worried. I have a lot of questions because the O-line has been a strength of ours for so long, but now when both tackles are injured and DeJuan Jones is kind of playing limbo, when in my opinion, he earned the spot last year before he got hurt, I feel like he should be our tackle going forward. He can anchor one side of that offensive line. We know he has the ability to do it. We saw him do it against TJ Watt at an extremely high level. What are your thoughts on the Cleveland Browns from the outside looking in, Jordan?
Your offensive line, that was some big news. The Newsom injury I can understand
That
because
guy's
that kind
always
of
hurt. That guy is always hurt.
he's always, but I don't know that 100% as an outsider, so I won't harp on it because I'm not going to speak to that. But his injury seemed like it happened during camp or during workouts. But the other guy getting his knee scoped this late in the year, that's kind of and I kind of tweeted on that. I said, what, why would you wait
Yeah.
so damn, close? If something doesn't feel right, and we've been athletes, on different levels, and even in the Marine Corps, if something doesn't quite feel right, I mean, I'm not going to wait till, my PT test. I'm not going to wait till, and I got to play a little junior college football with him. I'm not going to wait till game day to say I don't fucking feel right. So that just kind of, and he's not the only athlete. We've seen a lot of athletes, all of a sudden the season comes around and we're getting scoped or we're getting injuries, where I feel like if you're injured or something doesn't feel right, the day the season ends, I'm in the training room like, hey, do we have to have surgery today? Can we get it done? You go to Alabama and you see the greatest specialists in the world, where all that is regularly performed, and I think that's just kind of a head scratcher. But outside looking in, I think you guys have enough depth to cover that right now, and DeJuan Jones is a big piece for that, and I think he can play left or right tackle, and left he'll kind of I think you guys have a great coaching staff. I know you lost your offensive line coach to the Tennessee Titans. He wanted to coach with his son kind of
Makes
before
sense.
his years were
Totally
over.
get that.
But it doesn't make up that the talent is still there. So I think you guys can get through it, especially the first 4 games of the season. Moving forward, I think you guys have a really nice bye week. I think it's right after week 10. So
I think it is week 10,
I
actually.
think it is week 10. So, but yeah, I'm not as worried as you are. I think the Cleveland Browns have an awesome offensive line. I think you guys have great depth. You showed that last year, especially through the injuries, that you guys just, it seemed like, man after man up, man after man up. And it really carried, and it won me as a football fan in general. And Kevin's, go ahead.
But I don't want to live that way. You know what I mean? I don't want to live just surviving and getting through and then getting our faces stomped in by the Texans in the playoffs. Like, I don't want to live through that again.
That was because bad Flacco showed up in that game. That wasn't 100%.
Oh man, that was the worst version of Flacco. That was the version that we were like, when's the bottom going to drop out of this?
That was the New York Jets Flacco.
Something I didn't like to see, and I get it to an extent because he's dealing with coming back from a shoulder injury and surgery and everything. Stefanski said Thursday that he was unsure whether Watson would appear in any of the Browns' 3 preseason games. I need to see Watson get out there and get warmed up and get the car warmed up before week 1. I think that's important because while we did get to see Watson what he could be in that second half against the Ravens where he played with that broken shoulder, we didn't get to see that consistently. And I feel like he needs to take every rep possible to get back to being that guy. I know he's healing. I know he's coming back from injury. It's important, in my opinion, that he gets out there at least in maybe the second and the third game and gets the car warmed up. So week 1, we're rolling into Dallas, against Dallas at home, obviously, but we're rolling in. And the first time he's got to play is against a damn good Dallas secondary. Like that doesn't bode well for me. Any thoughts on Watson potentially sitting out the 3 preseason games?
I don't see it, Douglas, because if you look at everything from his personal accounts and the things that his teammates are saying, everything's trending in the right direction. There are articles where he's straight up saying he's throwing every day, and that is that's a big statement. So to me, I think Kevin Stefanski is playing kind of that. He can't come out there and say that like Watson can, because he has to say those things to protect the player, and he's the head coach. So, and he's one of your biggest financial investments at $220 million plus, guaranteed. You have to say those things as a head coach. So I wouldn't read too much into what he's saying in the press conferences. I think, when the match hits the fire and that gunpowder lights off, I think you're going to see him. I think you're going to see him in a couple of series. One, because of the offensive line, he's got to learn. Whoever's going to anchor that side, they got to learn each other. From a strategic standpoint, you see how disaster it is for the Bengals for the first 3 games of the year, Douglas, when your starters don't play in a preseason. So I don't think the Browns are going to make that mistake. I think you're going to see Watson in certain packages and in certain plays.
We need to.
and
We have to.
it, everything looks strong. And I kind of, not to just defer off him, but kudos for the Browns getting the Amari Cooper pay raise,
Yep.
put together. So there's really no drama in that camp there. I think he's going to continue to dominate like he always does. So really happy to see Nick Chubb is out on the field, coaching, being with his teammates on the sideline, outside of that incredible workout we saw before he went on vacation. That's kind of scared you a little bit, but that's because he's Nick Chubb. He's going to do it. He's going to power
Yeah.
through it. So just a lot of positivity coming from really Browns camp. I know those injuries today didn't sound great, but everything else is rocking and rolling, Doug.
Yeah, you're right. It's just, you spend years and years of, getting shit piled on you as a Browns fan. You get nervous about these kind of things, but I do feel pretty good about this team. We'll touch on the schedule. We'll get a schedule breakdown probably next week after we do the Bengals schedule. Jordan, let's transition though. Time for a little news and notes, buddy. Anything pop out to you this past week in Ohio?
My bleeding heart for FC Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Douglas is definitely something that man, it's been rough, sir. It's been rough.
It has been rough.
I know we got the injuries. I know we're missing our best player. I know we got a couple guys, playing in world play. And I'm glad, thank you for the FC Cincinnati fans kind of chiming in with us on Twitter/X.
Oh, help us out for sure.
Helping us out, definitely, swinging us. We've only been in the soccer game for about 2 seasons now. I have for FC Cincy. It's been fun. It's been incredible. But, here we are again. We got Miami on Saturday at 7:30. And I'll let you kind of touch on, I know they made a new addition, a new signing to kind of, stop the internal bleeding that's happening. And
are you sure it's not next week? It's not. I thought it was August.
I had it circled for this Saturday at 7:30, but maybe I'm making a mistake.
No, go ahead. Keep talking. I'm just double checking the schedule. For some reason, I think they're off for the Olympics.
Are we at a pause for the Olympics?
I thought so. Let me double check. But I mean, talk about the couple losses in a row. Talk about the All-Star game, and I'll get it figured out.
But I mean, we touched hard on the couple of losses in a row. Losing to the New York Red Bulls, losing to New England, just games that I thought were going to be a lot closer. Even in a loss, everything just looked bad. And I know that's our wing consistency right now, and our forward play has not been great. So a lot of us have touched up on that, our deep conversations with our fan base. But I know they just made a signing to kind of stop some of the internal bleeding, and I really kind of hope it pays forward. We get our players back, we get our captain back. We have some good representation for the All-Star game, like Douglas kind of touched on. But I hope they get it together, Doug, because they are in a damn landslide right now.
They are, Jordan. Quick correction: we play in the League's Cup against Quattaro on Thursday, August 1st. We play New York again on Monday, August 5th. We play Inter Miami Saturday, August 24th. So we do have a little breakaway here for about a week from the MLS slate. Jordan,
I apologize. I do apologize. I had that circled for the wrong Saturday.
But yeah, we got a little time off to regroup and hopefully get back in the mix. Like we said, FC did go out and sign a defenseman to help bolster that back line. Based on what we were, we're obviously still learning the sport. Based on what we were told, we need that kind of help. We're bringing in a defensive end that is going to help solidify that back line. We're really struggling on defense. You can see by the goals that the team's been giving up. What is it? The last couple matches, FC's given up. Oh, I think we've given up 6 or 7 goals, Jordan.
About 6.
3. We gave up 3 to New York, 1 to Chicago, 3. Yeah, so we've given up 7 goals in the last 3 games. That's not very FC Cincinnati like. So, we're definitely struggling there. Shout out to Tyler McGurk. I refuse to party with this guy is the tweet of the year. I've been doing a lot of responding to college football 25 tweets, and they've been doing pretty well. So That's been fun. But Jordan, we got to get this team back. We got to get Acosta back on the pitch. We've got to get healthy. Let's see if we can get this defenseman that we brought in integrated to the team and get him on the field. A lot moving parts going on with FC Cincinnati, in which we'll be talking about more going forward as the season progresses.
Yeah.
Jordan, what else do we got?
Football
this Thursday. Football, Jordan. Football Thursday. Who's playing on Thursday night, Jordan?
You tell me, brother.
No, it's Houston and Chicago. They're playing Thursday night in the Hall of Fame game. So NFL, Jordan, right around the corner. It's going to be great to have the NFL back. Super excited, buddy. It's that time of year. We get Ohio State going. We get the Browns. We get the Bengals going. We get some bets going on the show. It's going to be a hell of a season. I'm super excited. Man, a lot going on for us.
I'm ready for the pigskin to fly. That's for darn sure. It's been a lot of excitement with Ohio State. We've covered really hard the recruiting job that Ryan Day and company have been doing really well. Larry Johnson for the defensive line has been recruiting unbelievably. We're excited for Chip Kelly to come in and really take over the offense. Ryan Day said out loud he's not going to step on Chip Kelly's toes, not going to call any plays. Always love to see that. We have a mobile quarterback in Howard coming from the Big 12, a guy that's can really move the pocket presence and give us kind of that dual threat that we haven't had in probably the last 2 or 3 seasons. So I'm really, really super excited for all that. We got the greatest running back room in college football right now, in my opinion. I know Oregon is going to come close to rival it, but it's going to be fireworks. It's going to be fireworks all year long. The Big Ten with the extension and all these other teams that are coming from the Pac-12 are going to make it super interesting. And, college football in general is going to be, really big time. I was happy to see that College Game Day announced that,
Pat's back.
Pat McAfee, a personal favorite of mine from WWE, his own show. Now he's back on Game Day. I thought he brought some, much needed flair to the program last season. So good to see, the black T-shirt and cap back. So, I'll be excited for that. And that's really all I got, Douglas. Not
Wendy, QB for the Buckeyes right now. All signs are pointing to Will Howard being the quarterback. He is the transfer from Kansas State. That is what it looks like is going to be the QB. Devin Brown is still in the running, but signs are pointing to it being Will Howard from Kansas State. Jordan, I did want to announce that we made our first couple sales on our Ohio Sports Talk koozies. That is excellent news. Thank you to everybody who's purchased one so far. Visit our shop. It's on the bottom there, ohio-sports-talk.square.site. Koozies are $5.99. We appreciate anybody and everybody who looks at the site, who buys a koozie. It means the world to us. Jordan, we've gone 58 minutes. It didn't feel like 58 minutes, but it was damn good to get back in the booth with you. We hit on a lot of topics. We're going to be back Monday night. We've got some really big news to break on Monday night. Exciting stuff for us. I can't wait to talk about it next week. One of the biggest things to happen to this show ever is happening Monday.
And it's just starting, brother.
Just the beginning. We've got 98 live viewers. Thank you to everybody who's taking the time to watch this show. It means the world to us. I've got nothing else, Jordan. So let's end the show. I'm your host, Doug. That's Coach Maxon. Cheers, buddy. Love ya. We will see you guys Monday night live at 9:00.